Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are making these beautiful Christmas tree cold processed soap bars as our second and final soap of the 2018 Christmas soaping season. So I'm so excited about these. Every single bar has a different swirl, kind of different scoopy swooshy bit going on in the middle, and I just love how these turned out. So as you may know, I attended the HBBG and HSCG first Canadian annual conference in June, last June, and Zahida from Handmade in Florida presented, and it was so inspiring. Watching her soap is so zen-like, and she's like the absolute master of the hanger swirl, and I've been absolutely drooling over her Instagram ever since, and she's also like the nicest person ever. So these gorgeous swirls have really been playing in my mind over the last couple months, and so when I was designing this soap, I knew I wanted to do something really neat in the swirl department, and I think I did. In order to get that swirl, I made the batter sort of a medium speed tracing batter. It's actually the same base that we use for the sugar plum soap. I made that one a couple days earlier and really loved how the batter worked. And so I did it again for these ones because it traces reasonably quickly, so you're not kind of standing there for ages with your immersion blender, but it gains just enough viscosity that you can do some cool swirly stuff with it without it turning into pudding on you, which is, always appreciated. I'm using a fragrance oil for these bars, and that's because the suitable essential oils, so things like fir and spruce and pine, I really find they do not stick around in soap. No matter how much of them I put in a bar of soap, by the time I go to use that bar of soap, it smells like absolutely nothing. And that's really upsetting, and also feels like a huge waste of those essential oils because they just and nothing. So I'm using a fragrance oil instead. If you'd like to use an essential oil instead, you absolutely can, a blend of essential oils. But yeah, I would stay away from the pine, spruce, fir ones because they just don't hang around, which is sad. The top of these bars is decorated with a couple different types of swirls. I used some of the mica that gives us the green core. It was pre-dispersed in some oil already. So scattered some of that over the top, did the same with some gold mica and scattered that over top, and then swirled everything together with a toothpick. And so that picked up the drops of mica and then also the bit of green batter that was coming through the top and gave that a gorgeous swirl around, and I just adore how the tops of these bars came out. I don't think I'd call these beginner bars, but I think if you've made at least 10 batches of soap before, you're probably perfectly well equipped to have a go at these. They're not super complicated, but there's enough going on that you want to be, familiar with what trace looks like and comfortable with the process of soap making before you dive in. Just a reminder, if you want to learn more about this recipe, please go down to the description box below this video and click through to find it on my blog, where you'll find a lot more information about where to buy the ingredients and sort of the general process and all kinds of other useful stuff. That's just down there. But come on, let's get started. All right, before we dive in, let's take a look at everything we've got in our workspace. So we have our mold, our melted fats, which have been melted and then cooled to just slightly warmer than room temperature. If you want to know what's in here, please refer to the description box below this video or the blog post for this video, which is linked in the description box. I have my lye water, calculated to a 5% lye discount. Got an extra spatula, a nice thin spatula over here and a thicker spatula, immersion blender. Got our scent blend, some kaolin clay, gold mica pre-dispersed in canola oil, a mixture of blue and yellow mica to make a sort of cool green, pre-dispersed in castor oil, that's canola oil, and then this is titanium dioxide pre-dispersed in castor oil, and that just kind of happened to be which bottles of oil I had the closest. Both canola oil and castor oil are present in the original fat blend. We have another container to create extra colors in. We've got a gear tie folded for our hanger swirl, and we have some paper towel off camera just in case we need it, and we probably will. So we're going to start by blending the clay into our fat blend. And I'm just doing this now so that it doesn't impact trace. If I blend it in at trace, it can take a while, and then that can make the batter thicker than we want. All right, there's our trace. We're going to add our scent blend. So this is a fragrance oil called Christmas Wreath, made by Crafter's Choice. I picked it up at Windy Point, but I'm pretty sure I got it last year because I don't have it this year. If you are looking for essential oil alternatives, please read the blog. There is discussion about that there. I'm going to weigh out about 300 grams of batter to make our swirl in the middle. So this big part is going to be white and the smaller part is going to be green. We're going to begin by pouring all of the white batter into the mold. And then we're going to pour the green batter from enough height that it will break through. Getting kind of closer as we go. And for a hanger swirl, this is half the length, so I'm gonna have to kind of do it twice because I needed the depth, and if I make it full length, I only get about 1 inch. So I'm gonna go down in the center, hook up a little bit, come back up, hook up in this direction, most of the way, little hook, and up. Down about 3/4 of the way, hook, up, hook, and then up. So I'm pretty close to the surface, a little hook, and up. All right. And I wanted to finish this off with some little mica-y shimmers and whatnot. So get some little drops of this going. I'm actually rather tempted to leave it like this, but I want to do swirls for Christmas, but I think I'm going to have to come back and do a splatter top like this for something else at some point in time. So I've got a toothpick here, and I'm just going to swirl my way through some of these bigger blobs of mica. And then, of course, the green that's kind of poking through the top as well. All right, well, I think that is ready to sit and saponify, so I'm going to leave that for about 2 days before coming back and slicing it. So I will see you guys in 2 days. Well, I'm afraid I bunged up the filming of the cutting. I managed to record the few seconds before I started cutting and then turn the camera off and then record the few seconds after I was done. So I'm very sorry about that, but unfortunately there's really no second takes on soap cutting. But I love how these swirls turned out. I left the soap for about 48 hours before slicing it, and I wouldn't recommend leaving it any longer as it was really quite firm at that point in time. But you can see I got a gorgeous array of some really interesting swirls down through the center of the soap. I've sort of chosen a selection of some of the different sort of types and sizes and intricacies of swirls from, the loaf, from the cross sections. But yeah, so I'm sorry about missing the slice. I'm bummed too, but I really love how these turned out. So as a reminder, if you want to learn more about these soaps, see the recipe all written out, links to all the ingredients, written instructions, all that good stuff, please go down to the description box below this video and click through to read it on my blog, or go to humblebeeandme.com and search for the name of the recipe. So there we go. We just made some Christmas tree bar soap. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time.